Welcome back, friend. You said that you want to see a game of me playing Pantheon Support, and you'd find that helpful. So I played literally one game. Well, I wanted to play two, but the first one got remade. Um, just gonna comment real quick on the first in this game. So the first game I had Ash. This game I have Smolder. The difference in runes I had in the previous game is that I had Hextech Flash instead of Mana Flow Band and Scorch. The reason is because Ash is an early game champion. So I don't expect us losing any fight until, let's say, level 6 or 7. So being able to spam engage on the enemy team and try and kill them at every point like possible, as much as possible up to level 7, is the most optimal path to go if you have an early game ADC with you, which is why I brought Hextech Flash. This game, I have a Smolder on my team as an ADC. And you know my opinion, if you see a Smolder, dodge. Also, if you see a Malzahar, dodge. That's my opinion. Any late game champion you see on your team, dodge. Like, you're gonna have to end up carrying the whole team if you have late game champions on your team. So just dodge, do yourself a favor, dodge, and go next. But I decided to play this game, even though I have a Bard troll jungle, literally trolling our jungle as Bard. I have a Smolder and a Malzahar. This is a game you should be dodging 10 out of 10 times. But I just wanted to play it to show you that you can still do pretty good and win. I win this game and win, even though you have a terrible, terrible team. Absolutely terrible. Because this is bronze. That's the only reason. In bronze and silver, the only reason you're losing most of the time is because you're just doing bad. You should be able to generally carry most games in these elos. So yeah, like I was saying, in the runes, this time I have Smolder on my team. So I brought Presence of Mind and Mana Flow Band. Now after the game, I noticed that Mana Flow Band wasn't actually giving me much in terms of resource. So you can switch that to Absolute Focus or something else like Transcendence or something else, whatever. I don't think Mana Flow Band is very worth it. Not quite sure, honestly, but I think it's not quite worth it. Scorch is good. Scorch did 1000 damage. Press the attack did 2500 damage. Cut down did 1000 damage and 500. So these are all really good runes. But the reason why I brought Mana Flow Band and Presence of Mind is because Smolder is an extremely late game champion and he deals absolutely 0 damage early. So that means I'm gonna need to have to poke the enemy team down to absolutely like killable range just for me. Like if I'm the only person there, I have to poke them down to the point where if I'm only the only person on the lane, I can kill them. That's the only way any kills are gonna happen on this lane when you have a Smolder, basically, especially in low elo. In plat and above, I still recommend dodging games when you have a when you have a Smolder on your team. But some Smolders in those elos actually do good and know how to play. This guy didn't, but he did his best in any case, and we won. So yeah, that's the reason why I have Presence of Mind and Mana Flow Band, because you're gonna need to poke down the enemy team so low that you are basically able to kill them so low. So let's see how I won this game. Yeah, I forgot to mention, I was having some technical issues in the beginning. See, I worded here instead of there. So, and also, I think I did something with my summoners, because I was non-stop fumbling my flash instead of ignite. Like something with the keybinds was wrong. And to top it all off, I don't usually play Pantheon. Like I don't think the champion's really good. But because you want to play it, I played it, so you can see how you can play it optimally. So as you can see, this first trade, they won, and the reason they won is because my ADC was not in position to help me trade, and also because generally Smolder does 0 damage. But it's still something. The trade was still something, because as you can see, Mel is backing off, and Smolder, that means Smolder can farm. This damage you just saw with an empowered Q is thanks to Cut Down and Scorch. So that's why I think it's very useful for you as a Pantheon support to have Cut Down, because being able to poke them down effectively means that you're going to have to land a lot of spears from long range in most enemy compositions. But if you take Cut Down and Scorch, for example, that means you're going to be doing a lot more damage with each spear, and you're going to need a lot less spears to land for you to take them low enough to kill. Now, having pressure on the enemy team using this bush is always good. I engage here on the Mel. You see me fumbling my flash instead of ignite. I meant to ignite there. We would have won this very convincingly if I had ignited Mel, but instead I fumbled the flash. And this is Smolder for you. I'm not entirely sure we needed me to secure that kill, but it could have ended very poorly with Smolder dying and we getting nothing, so I decided to secure it with the spear. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, this whole game, our troll jungler Bart absolutely ignored us on the bot lane, even though this is a very volatile lane. Like, if you see Pantheon on bot lane, you as a jungler have to absolutely gank that lane, because if Pantheon and whatever ADC there is on bot lane don't get gold and level lead, well, it's gonna be over. Pantheon is a early game champion, short ranged, gets outranged and outscaled by mages and supports on the enemy team, enchanter supports. Now, as you can see, this is Bronzilo, so Vayne is doing bronze things. She goes in thinking she can just be cheeky like that and engage or farm without her support being on the lane. And you instantly always have to punish things like that. These are mistakes that happen a lot in bronze and silver, and you need to take advantage in order to be able to carry. Taking this tower shot was pretty bad, but in general, the trade on Mel was good. I didn't want to engage there on the Vayne because I'm low HP. Generally, I'm hoping that our jungler comes, but he's just absolutely ignoring us the whole time, sadly. And we can't really do anything because my Smolder is lower HP than their ADC and lower damage. They have better range than us. Now I didn't know Mel was recalling here, otherwise I would have engaged on the Vayne. I thought she was hiding in the bush on to the right. I didn't have vision to see that Mel was recalling because fog of war, you know. You don't see that. So here we have our Bard doing nothing as usual. He's even just taking damage for free here. It's honestly depressing playing with a troll on your team, but it's still winnable because of the elo. Taking a recall here is good because Smolder has no HP and no mana, and generally they have a lot more damage than us. So Mel is a disgusting champion, which does a ton of damage. Vayne early game is not that strong, honestly, but against Smolder everyone is strong. So them combining their damage would probably kill us if we had stayed there. Most definitely, actually, because Mel just needs to land one rotation on her spells and she would have killed Smolder. So what's most important in a situation like this where you have a late game scaling ADC is just poking them. If you're able to poke them and push them under tower, that's to a large extent optimal. Did he flash? Did Smolder flash there? No, he didn't flash. But yeah, as you can see, keeping them permanently on 50% HP thanks to cut down and playing from range aggressively is helping generally my late game ADC to farm and scale for free. We get ganked so many times, by the way, this game, it's not even funny. Meanwhile, we have no ganks from our jungler, nor from our Malzahar or from anything. And here is another bronze mistake. So, Smolder should have not gotten a hit there by her ultimate. That's absolutely because he's bronze. But Lux walking up on us like that alone is absolutely bronze move, and you need to always punish that. You see somebody walking in alone in a 2v1, you jump him with everything you got and you kill him. This dragon is absolutely uncontestable because our jungler was not here. I'm looking for an ultimate on mid, but it's just not possible. She's literally standing under her turret the whole game. Malzahar is 10 kilometers away, so even if I land a stun, he's not going to be able to come in time to land his ultimate and abilities. So it's a failed roam from me, but generally you need to be looking for roams. Now here's something weird happened. I feel like we should have won this, but maybe Smolder was too far away. Yeah, Smolder was very, very far away for no reason at all. Otherwise we would have won this very hard. Like, look at this. Okay, so what reason is there for Smolder to be standing so far away? There is absolutely no reason. And he's walking back. There's absolutely no reason for him to be walking even further back. We have the minion wave pushing. We have more HP than them. We have everything going for us, and he's just trolling the whole lane by going backwards for no reason. So we end up losing this perfect, otherwise, engage on Mel, but thankfully they decide to do another bronze mistake, if I remember correctly. Let me see. And I think they overstay here. No, they don't. Okay. It's another time then. But yeah, that was lost entirely because of Smolder being absolutely bronze. Otherwise, it was fine. We would have killed them without losing anyone. But what can you do? I do not know how that spear missed, by the way. I do not know how that spear missed. And you see the insane amount of damage this broken ass champion is doing without even having cut down, by the way. She mostly has utility runes and she's doing that much damage. It's a disgusting broken champion, and Riot will never balance her because they want to sell skins. It's literally disgusting champion. If Smolder had ulted earlier here, would have been nice. We could have won this as well, but whatever. Let me see if he had ult. Yeah, he has ult. I don't know why he's saving it for tomorrow. Like, what the fuck? Like, look. If he just ults, I'll survive. I'll be able to kite Vayne. And we can kill her. But he just holds it for tomorrow. For no reason. Anyway, this is the place where they overstayed. I revive and jump them. Of course, Smolder is bronze, so he dies. But at least I get 2 kills here. I have no idea what this guy's doing. Probably rage typing or something. So this is why people were bronze. They do absolutely horrendous mistakes, which you can easily punish and win the game by them literally throwing it for no reason. Like, the bot lane was going good for us until this guy started making bronze moves and dying or going back and stuff like that for absolutely no reason, not casting his ultimate and stuff. Then we basically lost it because he's doing absolutely bronze work. Absolutely bronze work. Like, it's terrible the way he was playing. Like, you would not be able to carry this ADC in lane even if you played like Faker. So whatever happens, it's fine. If you're having an even score, this is always fine in the map, I mean, because you have a late game scaling ADC, so this benefits you. Of course, Smolder misses his ult there. So I have to flash killer. So this is what I mean. If you have a Smolder, he's just really bad. He can't play. And he's playing a late game scaling champion who is hard to scale. Smolder isn't hard to play, but he's hard to scale. And you need to be very good at the game and playing Smolder to be able to actually not only survive barely in lane, but actually thrive. And we have my troll jungler doing nothing here again. Yep. Nothing. But at least she wasted flash. I guess that's good. Now he's pinging me to come, but how do I come, bro? I'm like 1 HP. Well, that's absurd. But I recall and I prepare for to ultimate into them because I have it up. I have ultimate, but there's no need because they don't ever come and we take dragon for free. So yeah, in this situation, this is why I don't like playing generally Pantheon, and I strongly recommend never playing ranked with a late game scaling ADC on your team, because the whole lane, I ignite her so she dies, and I take the kill, and I survive. So the whole laning process with Pantheon support, while you have a late game scaling ADC, is 100% you just landing long range spears. That's it. If you land your spears, they're gonna be half HP and stand under their turret, and your ADC can farm. And they'll just never come out of turret unless the enemy jungler is coming to gank, and that's the whole lane. So it's boring. It's fine, like in terms of your ADC scaling, if he has more than 20 IQ, which my Smolder doesn't because he's doing Krugs and losing his whole HP bar. Probably gonna die to Vayne here while I'm roaming and securing this objective. So yeah, you can play Pantheon support with the late game scaling ADC on your team, but it's just boring, hard to make kills, and very volatile. Like if things go bad for your lane at any point, there is like no recovering. But you can do it, and it's pretty effective still. If you want to play with a late game scaling ADC on your team, you can still do it. You just gotta land all your spears and be happy with the fact that the enemy team is standing in their turret, and your NPC late game scaling ADC can free farm. That's you winning lane, basically, as Pantheon support and a late game ADC. So I don't think I did much here aside from securing the objective. Here I'm pinging. You can see the minimap. I'm pinging that I'm coming. Go team, go. And I'm, as you can see, still the one doing everything. And can you guess why? Because I have 2 late game scaling champions. When you have a late game scaling champion, that means you have no team. That's literally what it means. Until minute 30, you have no team. The more late game scaling champions you have on a team, the less teammates you actually have. And you have to wait till minute 30 for them to become remotely human. That's why I highly suggest you never play and always dodge games where you have late game scaling champions on your team, because you literally have to carry their asses all the way to minute 30, doing everything by yourself, and hope that they are human enough that once they have scaled, they can press their buttons. Which is, by the way, not always guaranteed. They could be the worst dogshit players in the whole universe, and even though they've scaled, they still can't do anything. That's literally what happens a lot of the time, by the way. It's crazy. Here I try and R in to kill the Zoe, but I miss it. I'd go too far. I was thinking she would back off, but I think she got baited into fighting my Smolder. Now, I didn't see this vein rotating and I die here, which is my mistake. And to top it all off, the worst part is that when you're playing Pantheon, the moment when your late game scaling team actually becomes human, which is 30 minutes into the game, your champion has become completely useless as Pantheon. He can't do much in most team compositions. When it's minute 30, Pantheon is not even a champion. He's just a cannon minion who can stun and R in from long range. That's all he becomes. And so most of the agency that otherwise this champion has in the early to mid game is lost when your team actually has become scaled and you become largely dependent on them being able to do the work now, which is bad because you're trying to climb and you can't rely on random players to be able to do basic correct decisions and be able to do good in fights. You can't rely on random people to be able to do that consistently, which is why I mostly dodge games like these where I have late game scaling champions, because I want to have the most agency possible. Now, if my Yasuo didn't leave me there, I feel like we could have definitely killed 2 and possibly a third, but he just left me, so whatever. Meanwhile, my Bard is doing nothing as usual. I mean, yeah, he crashed the Herald, but so what? Like, he could have been top helping us, wasn't. My Yasuo doing nothing. By the way, yeah, this is another thing about this game. Generally, all lanes lost. I'm not sure if you were tracking, but my Yasuo, he lost. He's like, what, 3-5? He was 0-3 for most of the game. My Malzahar is a late game scaling champion, so he basically loses lane by default. Smolder is a late game scaling champion, so he loses lane by default. So this is the game with 3 losing lanes and a trolling jungler. And we still win, because the enemy teams are bronzes. Bronzes do an insane amount of mistakes, and you should be able to punish it and win in 90% of the cases. Let's see here. Okay, I landed the spear. Okay, cool. I didn't have vision of the bush, so I wanted to see in the demo if I landed the spear, and yeah, that's why I get the kill here and shouldn't get it executed. So at one point, I think this already happened actually, I'm not quite sure, but at one point the enemy team started like perma roaming and ganking, which is really good, as Zoe is very good at that, doing that. My Yasuo dying again, doing nothing. wasting flash. Like, there's no point flashing there. Hecarim is a very extremely mobile champ. He'll catch up to you no matter where if you flash there. Just very bronze. Very bronze Yasuo. Anyway, what was I talking about? I forgot. They didn't have a ward there? How did she know? That's crazy. They didn't have a ward there. How did she know I was using the portal at that moment? That's absolutely insane, by the way. In any case, yeah, as I was saying, they started roaming, like Zoe and Hecarim and Mel. They started roaming and just perma making picks on our team. This is another winnable situation, by the way. I could have jumped on Mel, but I saw my Malzahar recalling, so I couldn't. It's a 2v1 there. But if he was at least somewhat human, I could have jumped Mel and we could have done a double kill there, but he's not human. My jungler trolling, my Yasuo probably, yeah, he's gonna survive. But that's the only reason he's surviving is because the enemy team is bronze. They could have dived him here easily. We're taking dragon. So yeah, the thing about them perma roaming is that if they're perma roaming, it means you can either start grouping with your team as well and having 5v5s or taking objectives like dragon and stuff, or making picks as well. Or the other solution to the enemy team perma roaming is you starting to split. The problem is that you as a Pantheon support generally shouldn't be splitting. But because this is a bronze game and you can't expect your team to be making the right decisions, although Yasuo is doing the right thing here. See, they are perma roaming and doing nothing bot lane but losing kills. Sure, they made some kills, but we also made some kills. And he's splitting because the lane is free. There is no one to contest him. So he's able to take a whole turret there because the enemy team is perma roam grouping and trying to make picks. They didn't even take dragon. So that's a huge bronze mistake as well. Perma roaming and grouped as a team is something that you can see a lot in bronze and silver. And you gotta know how to punish it. And the two ways are you just group with your team if you think you can win a 5v5, or you start splitting and taking objectives. Because if they just perma roam and gank one or two people on a lane, they're gonna get what, like 300, 600 gold for the 2 kills. Meanwhile, Yasuo got like 1,000 gold from the tower and minion waves on top. Then we ended up killing them here and taking dragon. So perma roaming and ganking is a really bad strategy you can see people doing in bronze and silver. And it's easily punishable by just splitting and doing objectives or grouping as a team yourself if you think you can win the 5v5. Again, all the damage here on Lux is dealt by me. Nothing by Malzahar. Doesn't have an ult. Doesn't have anything. Late game useless scaling champ. And it's minute 30, by the way. It's minute 30 and he's still pretty much useless. Because players don't know how to play. So there is no point in playing with players who don't know how to play and are playing late game scaling champions, because they're gonna lose early game, they're gonna lose mid game because they're playing a late game scaling champion, and in the end they're even gonna lose late game because they don't know how to play. So even when they have a scaled champion, they don't know how to play, so they're gonna lose that as well. So there's no point. That's why I dodge. This is played on my Smurf account, by the way. I'm not sure if I mentioned this. This is played on my Smurf account where it's bronze rank. The reason is I want you to be able to clearly see how many insanely huge mistakes players are making in these games. And how you can punish them in order to secure a win. See here, they grouped again as a team, top, and Smolder is free farming, which is terrible. When you have a Smolder on the enemy team, you need to be always pressuring him on lane. He's free farming and taking turret. I didn't notice Hecarim, by the way. I wasn't looking at my map. I didn't notice Hecarim, and then I came back and killed him. My team pinged me, and I came back and killed him. Sadly, he ended up taking the turret because I didn't see him on the map, but it's fine. Losing turret here does nothing for them. By the way, my build, I think I found a pretty nice build during this game, which I think it's pretty useful against squishy targets. Like you can see on the enemy team, it's like Mel, Zoe, Lux, Vayne, and sure, Hecarim is supposed to be not squishy, but honestly, with this build, he's still squishy because I have Black Cleaver reducing his armor. He has one armor item, which is not a lot, but still you're reducing that item by a lot in his base armor. I have Sundered Sky, which allows me to crit on the first strike, which is very deadly for squishy champions, and it allows me to recover HP. I also have Eclipse, which does 6% of the max health in physical damage, which again is pretty good, both against squishy and non-squishy champions, because it's kind of like a crit from the Sundered Sky. So you have basically two crits here. And then I'm building Yomu's blade, or Ghost Blade. I'm not sure what the name was. So I have some lethality and more movement speed to be able to catch up to these squishy fast champions and be able to essentially one-shot them. And I have Blood Song, which also adds another 100 damage. So basically any squishy champion I meet on a lane, if I manage to press W and Q on them with press the attack and cut down as my runes, they're dead. They're gonna be dead with this build and these runes. If I press W and power W on a champion, this squishes Vayne and Mel and Zoe, they're dead. They're just dead. Somebody just needs to auto attack them once and they're dead. See, I pressed W on her and she's just dead. She's just dead. And again, this is a bronze mistake. You see the enemy ADC sitting alone on mid lane farming. Go and kill her. Instantly go and kill her. This is like literally a free kill. A bronze mistake, absolute bronze mistake. And here there is a problem because we can't siege. We have no long range champions. Smolder isn't long range. I'm barely a poking champion with my long range Q every 10 seconds. Like, it's worthless. Now I see Mel here, and look, empower W, Q, she's dead. She's dead. The build is pretty good, and the runes are amazing. She even barriered, I think? What did she do? She doesn't have barrier. I guess that's one of her abilities with the shield. Now here, I think what happened is someone got caught. Yeah. So Smolder got caught. Why? Because he's a bronze player playing a late game scaling champion. The fact that he's a bronze player means he's bad at the game. So he's gonna lose mid game, early game, and late game because he's bad and playing a late game scaling champion. Anyway, if Yasuo didn't flash away here, look. If Yasuo doesn't flash away here, he can use his wind wall to stop all of these champions' abilities. Zoe can't attack us, Vayne can't attack us, Lux can't attack us, only Lux can ult us. That's the only thing that happened. But he flashes away and we instantly lose that fight. Otherwise, we could have either traded 2 for 3 of us dying because we were low HP, or possibly even killed all of them. Because Yasuo is just such a hard counter to any champion with long range, primarily ranged attacks. But he ended up flashing away, and so we lost. But it's fine. It's not game over because this is bronze. In higher elo, the more the people do less mistakes and you're not able to like recover. But in this elo, people do thousands of mistakes, so you're always able to turn the game around and win. Like, as you can see, again, a prime example. You have Malzahar. He should ult and kill the low HP Hecarim. Instead, he ults Vayne. Like, why? You can't kill her. Like, why are you doing that? The answer is because he's a bronze player playing a late game scaling champion, doing nothing all game, losing the game solely by picking a late game scaling champion and being bronze. That's why you always dodge. But it's still winnable. It's still winnable because it's bronze and you can carry like 90% of bronze games, single-handedly carry them. This is another thing you need to be doing in all your games. Like, I warded here and here, and I saw Zoe rotating towards my Yasuo. So I spam pinged him to back off. And I was ready to press R if I saw him getting engaged at any point. But what I mean is, you need to be playing the game for your team as well. Like, they're bronze, okay? So they have never heard of such a thing as a minimap. They don't know about wards. They don't know about these complex things, mechanics called vision and rotations. So they have no clue what they're doing 90% of the time and where the enemy team is 90% of the time. So you need to be pinging them. You need to be constantly watching your map and pinging your team to back off when you see that they're gonna get ganked. Because even if you have wards, your team doesn't have a map. So they're not gonna know. So you need to be pinging them on top of placing wards. Because they just don't have maps. You need to do all the work. This is bronze. You need to do... You basically gotta like literally take the keyboard and mouse from your team and play instead of them. That's literally what you gotta do. But the good news is that in this elo, when you do that it's winnable. But when you get to gold and plat, even if you do this, it's not 100% winnable. Because players do less mistakes. But in bronze and silver, you can absolutely turbo carry games single-handedly. Like, we got Soul just there. Because I pinged off my Yasuo earlier, made picks on Mel and Vayne, and they couldn't contest the Soul, so we got it for free, basically. And it's all thanks to me paying attention to map and in what my team is doing and pinging them off early so they don't get ganked before dragon. So at this point, I think my Smolder, yeah, my Smolder has outscaled them. It's a 40-minute game here. We have Mausachar and Smolder, and even bronze players can play their late game scaling champions at this point of the game because, well, they're just OP. Like, if a game goes beyond 40 minutes and you have late game scaling champions, it's very hard to lose. Here we just end with Yasuo and me hitting the turret, hitting the turrets and the Nexus. Meanwhile, look at this guy. What is he doing? Bronze. Meanwhile, me and Yasuo. Yasuo is not my teammate, by the way. He's just some random bronze. But yeah, you can single-handedly carry games. Even with Troll Jungle, 2 late game scaling champions. Losing Yasuo top lane, losing mid lane, losing bot lane. And it's because it's bronze. You can carry this. Just need to punish mistakes.